President Tinubu declares security emergency, orders army police to recruit more personnel.
Moment of emotions as Governor Nasir Idris reunites the rescued Maga school girls with families.
I'm calling on parents not to prevent their daughters from returning to school.
And Senate adopts death penalty for kidnapping offenses and other terrorism-related crimes. Places no option of fine.
It's an attack on all citizens of the country. It's an attack on the democracy of our country.
On Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall focus on 16 days of activism.
All right, the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence is an annual global campaign highlighting the need to end violence against girls and women.
Indeed, Claire, this year's 16 days of activism shines the spotlight on violence under, of course, gender-based violence under the theme United to End Digital Violence Against All Women and Girls.
Well, global studies reveal that yearly millions of girls and women are affected by digital abuse and technology-facilitated violence.
In addition to that, millions of girls and women are allegedly affected by online abuse, which pushes women out of digital space. And that means limiting their skills, access to markets, and indeed higher value jobs.
We also have data from a research that shows that about 23% of girls and women have faced online harassment or at least abuse once in their lifetime. And at least 1 in 10 has also experienced some form of cyber violence or cyberbullying, if you may.
And it goes without saying that gender inequality persists everywhere and stagnates social progress. Sexual violence and exploitation leads often to discrimination at workplaces as well.
Precisely. And women and girls, we know, represent half of the world's population and therefore also half of its potential. However, gender sexual abuse persists and leaving in its trail a scar in the wake of violent exploitation. And it's on this challenging note, I welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria, and I'm Claire Adelabu Abdul Razak. Victor.
I am Victor, as we already said so. And we thank you very much for joining us this Thursday morning. We are live from Abuja, the nation's capital. In a moment, we will have Chukwudi Okoli Ubaja for company as we do the newspaper review. But now we have Dennis Adebuloye family seated and ready to take highlights of the morning news. Good to see you, Dennis.
Good to see you too, Victor. Good morning, and good morning, Claire. Good morning, Nigeria. In view of the emerging security situation, President Bola Tinubu has declared a nationwide security emergency and ordered additional recruitments into the armed forces. By this declaration, the police and armed forces are authorized to recruit more personnel. The police will recruit an additional 20,000 officers, bringing the total to 50,000. The president said that he previously approved the nationwide upgrade of police training facilities. The police authorities are also authorized to use various National Youth Service Corps camps as training depots. The officers being withdrawn from VIP guard duties should undergo crash training to debrief them and deliver more efficient police services when deployed to security-challenged areas of the country. The DSS also has the authority to immediately deploy all the forest guards already trained to flush out terrorists and bandits lurking in the forests. The agency also has its directive to recruit more men to man the forests, as there will be no more hiding places for agents of evil. He commended the security agencies for working together to secure the release of the 24 schoolgirls in Kebbi and the 38 worshippers in Kwara State. And it was a moment of relief and overwhelming emotion in Birnin Kebbi as Governor Nasir Idris formally reunited the rescued Maga schoolgirls with their families. The atmosphere was filled with tears, smiles and prayers of gratitude, bringing closure to days of anxiety and fear following their abduction.
Not to prevent their daughters from returning to school, please allow them to continue their education as the government is introducing new initiatives to ensure their safety and support.
Meanwhile, the Senate has adopted the death penalty for offences bordering on kidnapping and other terrorism-related crimes with no option of fine. It therefore resolved that the Terrorism Act be amended immediately and that judges should henceforth not be discretionary in handing down the sentence. These form part of resolutions of the Senate after about 5 hours of debates on the state of security in Nigeria.
It's an attack on all religions. It's an attack on all citizens of the country. It's an attack on the democracy of our country. It's an attack on Nigerian citizens. It's an attack on Nigerian government. So we must rise up to the occasion.
And lawmakers in the House of Representatives are urging the federal government to get tough on terrorism and violent extremism. At the resumption of the debate on insecurity in the House, members demanded a decisive action to tackle the hydra-headed monster of insecurity that is rearing its ugly head across the country.
Other criminals, armed robbers, gangs were found in the list of Nigerian Army and police. There has to be a thorough way of ensuring that when we are recruiting, those of us that are politicians are recommending, should recommend people of good character and integrity.
Now, the federal government has reaffirmed its commitment to supporting initiatives that align with the national health agenda and expand access to modern medical technologies. Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare Professor Mohammed Ali Pate made the pledge during the inauguration of the Tumai robotic surgery platform established by the NISA Medical Group in partnership with RoboMed Global. Describing the developments as a giant leap for the country's healthcare system, he said the new platform places Nigeria at the forefront of technology-driven surgical care in Africa.
Bringing the platform for robotic surgery in Nigeria, in our sub-region in this continent, it's a giant step. And in line with the President's own vision for transformation of our health sector, I think we're getting there. We're making progress.
And those are the news highlights at this time. Good Morning Nigeria continues with Victor and Claire after these messages. Stay tuned.
The Renewed Hope Initiative RHI presents the RHI Green Nigeria Challenge. Go green today for a greener tomorrow. This national competition is in 3 categories. The household category is a tree planting competition amongst 11 frontline states in northern Nigeria. Each participating household in Adamawa, Borno, Bauchi, Gombe, Jigawa, Kano, Katsina, Kebbi, Sokoto, Yobe and Zamfara states will plant a minimum of 1 tree to qualify, with a video evidence of before and after the tree planting exercise. 20 million naira would be awarded to the best household. Submission deadline is 20th December 2026. Community category will see local governments, local communities, schools and NGOs reclaim and transform degraded or abandoned areas such as dump sites, landfills, parks and their likes into green, vibrant gardens, parks and eco-friendly spaces. 50 million naira would be awarded to the overall best community group. Deadline for submission is 15th July 2026. State category will have all states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, excluding Enugu State, have a chance to address the growing threats to environmental sustainability and cleanliness. States will be judged based on the number of trees planted on major roads and inner streets and how clean they are. 100 million naira will be awarded to the best performing state. Already, Enugu State has 100 million naira for being RHI's model green state due to its greenery and cleanliness. Video evidence must be submitted by participating states on or before 20th December 2026. All entries must be directed to RHI Office, State House, Abuja, or email rhi.greenchallenge@statehouse.gov.ng. RHI Green Nigeria Challenge. Go green today for a greener tomorrow.
The Apostolic Church Nigeria, Abuja Metropolitan Area Lorna Territory under the chairmanship of Pastor Dr. S.G.O. Uye, JP, Vice President TACN Emeritus, and Pastor J.O.A. Fadigbe. Abuja FCT Area Superintendent and Metropolitan Area Leader and Convener cordially invites the general public to the 6th Abuja Metropolitan Areas Convention with the theme, How Shall We Escape the Consequences of Salvation Neglect? Hebrews 2 verse 3. Date Friday 28th to Sunday 30th of November 2025. Time Friday 4 p.m., Saturday and Sunday 9 a.m. respectively. Venue Plot 494 Durumi District, Area 1, Garki, Abuja. Pre-convention revival. Date 23rd to 27th November 2025. Time 4 p.m. daily. Announcers Overseer J.E. Edet, Secretary Convention Planning Committee. Pastor F.A. Homodanisil, Convention Committee Chairman.
For an exclusive 3-time skin effect, try Nivea Men Deep powered by Black Carbon. For 48-hour deep moisture, a fresh skin feel, and a long-lasting masculine fragrance. Make an impact with Nivea Men Deep Impact Body Lotion. Try Nivea Men Deep Roll On for 72-hour antibacterial sweat protection.
And the National Productivity Order of Merit Award goes to...
The only tomato paste manufacturer to win the National Productivity Order of Merit Award by the Federal Government of Nigeria, endorsed by the Association of Private Medical Practitioners of Nigeria. This is an evidence of 100% natural goodness. Eat healthy to live longer. Buy now and enjoy up to 20% discount.
Tomato paste, the taste of Nigeria.
Break time is the right time to re-energize. It's that break time energy that helps keep your champ in the game.
Milo, energy to go further.
Milo!
Power Oil Light. Light enough for movement. Real enough for taste. Power Oil. My choice for my family. They always come back for seconds. I know why. Power Oil. My choice for my family.
Progress no dey happen just like that. It dey come from support when you need am.
Mommy, I got the school fees. You too much.
Na money point o.
Money point, thank you.
Customer, na transfer abi? Confirm.
Bro, na transfer.
Na money point oga. Oh, na confirm.
Progress na peace of mind when you know say payment go land as Sure Banker. Progress na small win wey dey carry person go far.
No worry, yourself go make am. Mo go buy ball.
Victor, even you dey use money point?
Of course na, they use money point.
Confirm.
Money point, made for your progress.
Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja. The city is moving. New voices, heavy drip, all heart. From the streets to the stage, this is the next Afrobeat star.
Yo! What are we here for? Let's Afrobeat star! Let's get nasty!
And the talents from all over showed up to own the room. But if they're not alone.
Spiritual. Gospel.
All chasing a slot to face the judges. Puffy T, SARS, Andre Vibes, P Pride. Catch next Afrobeat star on.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. Get ready for a special Christmas celebration like no other.
Join us on Sunday, December 7, 2025 at the National Christian Center, Central Business District, Abuja for the FRCN, NTA and VON service of 9 lessons and carols.
Theme of 2025 is
Jesus our strength.
With a charge from Reverend Dr. William Okoye.
The service of 9 lessons and carols live on FRCN, NTA and VON. Sunday, December 7, 2025
at 3 p.m. Be there
at the National Christian Center, Central Business District, Abuja.
Don't miss the service of 9 lessons and carols live on FRCN, NTA, and VON.
Join us and celebrate the true meaning of Christmas.
All right, thank you for joining us. It's time for newspaper review, but in a moment.
That moment has come with Chukwudi Okoliobaja seated and ready to get us going.
You make me feel bigger than this. My 5 foot,
Good to see you, by the way.
5 foot, 6. The Chukwudi moment. That's what you just hit now. How you doing, Claire?
Right. Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I know you know why I'm beaming from ear to ear, but I don't want to make the Super Eagles jealous.
I know, but I'd like to. In fact, I should have done this much earlier.
Yes.
Victor, I must really commend Victor this morning because he's taken a shift, or he's shifted from his usual hard stance on gender things.
Oh, okay.
Today he's leading in the 16 days activism.
Oh, that's a good one.
So you can see the touch of orange.
That's a good one.
Muffler that he's putting on.
That's a good one.
No, you haven't. So I want to commend him. But again, congratulations.
He should be the ladies' man as well. I'm not saying you look nice or whatever. I'm just, suggesting.
Anyway, please, the Daily Trust is loaded this morning, and I really don't know,
Where to start
let's just take. It's all about the kidnapping, President Tinubu declaring emergency on security, and of course reactions from the Senate, from the National Assembly on whether the MAGA schoolgirls were released, rescued, or ransomed. And there's also a bit on appointment of ambassadors by the president. And then we'll quickly look at the latest coup d'etat in Guinea-Bissau. Let's look at all of these because they speak to one issue.
Yes. First of all, the declaration of emergency on security is coming at the right time. In fact, it should have been earlier. But the worryman say nothing spoil. The important thing is that it has finally happened. And what this means is that we're going to see more boots on the ground. We've been talking with the Pentagon, the U.S. Pentagon, that's their Defense Department. Just a few days ago, we held a meeting with them. I can tell you that some drones are eventually going to have to come in here. We do have drones now, but Ukraine is showing that drones can get even more sophisticated by the day as they confront the behemoth, Russia, and all that. So warfare has changed. It is no longer infantry meet infantry. Of course, that still happens, but what is happening, from the skies now, perhaps outweighs meet me on the front lines and all that. So we are keying into the latest that obtains in terms of fighting.
I like you too.
Ever mutating, the ever mutating shape of insecurity.
I like you too. There are two riders here and Daily Trust,
Yes.
placed those riders side by side. The one on the right hand side,
Yes.
is from President Bola Tinubu,
That's it.
expressing his relief that all the 24 girls have been accounted for, and of course, and then charging matter of urgency, and to move more boots on the ground.
Yes.
We spoke about this yesterday, Chukwudi, and of course
we did.
You made some explanations about that. Just hold on, please. And then the other side, you have Kabiru Adamu, a security expert, a very respected security expert. We had him here in the studio. I don't know if Victor was on set.
No.
Definitely, saw him. And he said there are lots of questions, honestly, regarding this whole activity. The fact that they engaged them, the fact that they did not arrest them, the fact that they did not go after them, means that these guys will go back again. I mean, these are concerns.
He doesn't have to rub it in. We have been saying here long ago that the Nigerian territory is not maybe more than 3/4 as policed as it should. There are swathes of the Nigerian territory where people do not see police in 2 months. I'm not making it up. Those fringe areas. That is why we keep on suggesting strongly that for you to get on top of all this nonsense happening, you have to have more people recruited into the force. And that's exactly what the president has expressed, 2 or 3 days ago. More boots on the ground. Then, of course, more equipment. You just mentioned drones and all that. You could stay here, and drones are surveying as far away as this road to Kafanchan. From here, you're monitoring. It depends on the range of the equipment you have. So we need to up our game to face current realities emanating from that ever-mutating field of insecurity.
Victor, I know. Let me just take this last question from here. Should our lawmakers, I mean, these are, elected representatives in the highest, level of governance, should they be amplifying, the circumstances surrounding the release of kidnapped victims? Shouldn't they say, okay, fine, this has been done, but let us, like you say.
Yes, Claire, I have always had issues with a Nigerian state that has people who do not know where governance should take over from politics. Some of these voices is a babel of voices, cacophony. Some of them say it tongue-in-cheek. They are trying to make a point that doesn't quite help our fight against those people. Already, it has been stated that we don't have enough men and women, because some good soldiers are women now, to counter these people. That means that ultimately, inevitably, there will be loopholes in the fight. So when you begin to, my people say, that means when you begin to press fufu too much, you go begin to, they're not even pound and well. You begin to see the seeds, the lumps there. It's not everything. Sometimes you need, when I accuse Nigerian politicians of, when I tell them, yeah, I see a lot of politicians, but where are the statesmen? We used to have statesmen. I'm not saying they're no longer there, but they are really declining. And the numbers are dwindling.
We also, and I'm sure you were at one of such trainings where, we urge or we nudge, journalists on how to report issues of security.
Thank you.
I mean, this is.
Thank you.
Are we practicing what we learn?
No, the thing is this. I was a problem in the newsroom because I would challenge journalists if I thought they were not doing it well. You didn't have to be anybody's
a leopard hardly.
No, I can't. You have to do it the proper way.
Let's quickly focus.
Okay, yeah. So the point we're making is there is such a thing as national interest that should be protected even in your reportage. The Americans are not telling you everything. If they tell you everything happening about the Armada being assembled close to Venezuela, you're going to release all the secrets of the Secretary of Defense. You understand? Secretary of War, they call him now, Pete Hegseth. So Our journalists should know when it is not in the interest of Nigeria to release certain bits of information. It's not everything you put, in the marketplace when you're discussing security. So we need to have that discretion. You just have to, for love of country,
Victor, I said you have other stories there.
All right. We haven't talked about the nomination of ambassadors to US and to US, France, and UK.
Yes.
And what that could do for diplomacy.
If you wink in the dark, nobody notices
you. See nothing.
Nobody notices you.
You see nothing.
Yeah. When you wink in the dark, nobody notices you did anything at all. We cannot play down the importance of the ambassadorial team. But I can also understand while the government is prioritizing. But I'm very happy that at this point, these appointments are coming. Because Nigeria needs not just to be reported properly now, it needs the proper optics to go out to the rest of the world. The best people to provide it are the ambassadors.
But
these are
non-career ambassadors.
They are non-career, but they are hugely relevant in terms of the function we want them. Go and read their CVs. They actually listed the three of them, or what they've been and all that. That will tell you, that will show you how huge these appointments are. Sometimes it's not the man at the helm of affairs that really drives industry. He's just coordinating. It's those, the boots on the ground. Think what the marketer does for NTA. I'm not saying the DG is not important place. Neither am I saying that my wonderful executive director news is not important or forever is going to be important. Yeah. But what they are doing is doing how best to play these people on the ground into the proper places. Strategic planning.
No, but because we don't have a lot of time.
Yes.
Now, PDP to Abuja Chief Judge, don't assign our cases to courts of particular concern.
What did they mean? Where did they? Nigeria was made a country of particular concern. So they have now taken that one.
That's chicken.
You people, you are so creative. Sometimes negatively.
That is why Nigeria is the capital.
This country
is a capital of hospitality. This is a place where you find joy, regardless of what we go through. Victor,
the day we stop seeing the Hausa man, the
Yoruba
man, and we come together, the world cannot hold us.
This last one, manufacturers are seeking further interest rate cuts to spur growth.
Yes. Well, interest rates cuts. Waleke could come here, Prof. And argue to the other side. Bismarck could come here. He did yesterday. I don't go with them because, first of all, my economics does not go the Adam Smith theories. I needed to make a A2 at the worst level.
The CBN director of Monetary Policy Department came and explained that what the CBN Monetary Policy meeting did, was to retain most of the parameters.
Exactly. Yes.
And then he explained the error of margin.
Okay, the margin of error.
Yes, margin of error, rather. And said, look, yes, we are sure of what we have done, but don't let us forget the margin of error.
Exactly.
So that
I saw Dr. Obo, is a doctor?
Obo, yes.
Yesterday with
Victor.
Professor Waleke.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And the economists would never actually follow one route. That's it. Remember Professor Samaluko and the very wonderful, brilliant Chuokungu, Babangida's chief economist and all that. They never argued in one direction. But I do think, I think that somewhere they find a nexus, that drives the economy at the end of the day.
All right, Chukwudi, thank you. Please go out there and herald no violence against gender.
Yes.
Whether girl or boy, woman or man.
I'll try because...
So you are simply saying no violence against anybody.
Yes, I'm going to play down the Arsenal exuberance and focus on what you just said.
Thank you. Let's take a shot.
Have a great day.
You too.
Nevertheless, We must come to terms with existential reputational threats to our national brand, in which external purveyors of untruths are mischaracterizing our nation as a destination for a so-called persecution of people based on their religious faith. This is a propaganda externally woven by those who want to break or weaken our unity. For the upteenth time, I'm emphatic that there is no iota of truth in the communication that is out there, that there is a deliberate, calculated effort where one particular religion is targeted for extermination. I therefore urge us to use the instruments of public relations crafted in truths and facts to vehemently reject this single despicable narrative about Nigeria. It is incumbent on all of us to unite in a voice that will ensure that Nigeria is indeed a country that is anchored on the freedom for everyone to practice his or her religion. In any case, that is what our Constitution stipulates.
Alright everyone, no put your ears, make we talk. Shout my tree fresh now, but you know, I beg no be so. Ever heard of Colgate, the #1 oral care brand in the world? For zero cavities and long-lasting fresh breath. Mom, it's your time to brush. Mama and Papa buy up, use up, and shine your smile. No more cover mouth. Because Colgate, that's what do ya with your smile.
My skin is my identity, my strength. It's unique and deserves care made specially for me. New Nivea Radiant and Beauty Advanced Care with 5 oils and 5 vitamins. 48-hour nourishment. Helps reduce appearance of stretch marks in just 2 weeks. New Nivea Radiant and Beauty Advanced Care for your shade of beautiful.
Confidence is important in life's little moments. Strong teeth can help, even if they get her into trouble sometimes. A great smile is useful to break the ice, and making friends is easier when you know you have fresh breath. I give my family confidence with Pepsodent Triple Protection 123. Its antibacterial action formula gives them cavity protection, white teeth, and fresh breath. The confidence of 3 toothpaste in 1. Pepsodent Triple Protection 123.
Let's believe in ourselves. Let's have the right attitude. We've got all it takes to get there. Let's look inwards and revive all our infrastructures and galvanize our human and material resources. Nigerians, believe in yourselves. Believe we can succeed. Nigeria, believe.
Powered by National Orientation Agency.
Thank you for staying with us. This is Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. Before we introduce our guests for this conversation on 16 days of activism, let's take this background report put together by Oyeyemi Ajayi.
The latest World Health Organization-led global report shows the violence against women remains alarmingly high, affecting nearly a third of women worldwide. Violence against women and girls is emphasized as a global human rights emergency that must stop. Despite decades of commitment, experts say progress against gender-based violence remains slow, with only a 0.2% annual decline in prevalence. Noting that sexual violence beyond intimate relationships is widespread but highly underreported. Globally, 8% have experienced sexual violence by someone other than a partner. The true number is likely much higher due to stigma and non-disclosure. However, the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Actions is the world's most comprehensive visionary plan ever created to achieve the equal rights of all women and girls. Agreed by 189 governments in 1995 at the Fourth World Conference on Women. The platform centers on 12 areas of action, referred to as critical areas of concern. These cover jobs and the economy, political participation, peace, the environment, ending violence against women and more, hence the establishment of the 16 days activism against gender-based violence. Marked from 25th November to 10th December of every year, the essence is to nip in the bud gender-based violence globally. The theme for the 16 days of activism to end gender-based violence this year is Unite to End Digital Violence Against All Women and Girls. This focuses on one of the fastest growing forms of abuse, digital violence against women and girls, reminding that digital safety is central to gender equality. Online and digital spaces should empower women and girls, yet every day, for millions of women and girls, the digital world has become a minefield of harassment, abuse, and control. From online harassment and cyber stalking, the deep fakes, doxing, and coordinated technological attacks, the technology-facilitated gender-based violence has emerged as a disturbing new form of abuse. Now, how effective can this year's theme be in standing against reality? What policies or measures can be put in place for the female gender to be fully protected? Our guest will be answering this question and more shortly.
Thank you, Oyeyemi Ajayi, for the background report. We have our guests seated here in the studio, and let's start with the introductions. I have Dr. Olajumoke Adeniyi, who is head of operations, Hasham Foundation. She's also the creative director, Salt and Light brand. Dr. Adeniyi, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Dr. Asmao is also here. Dr. Asmao Benzi is CEO, Executive Director, Center for Non-Violence and Gender Advocacy in Nigeria. It's always a pleasure to have you.
The pleasure is mine. Good morning, viewer.
All right, we have also been joined here in the studio by Chief Dr. Rekia Momo Abaji. She's retired director of the Federal Civil Service and activist on women and development issues. A pleasure to welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria.
My pleasure to be here too. Thank you.
All right, and lastly, but by no means the least, let me welcome Ife Onyebule, Chief Ife Onyebule, an award-winning broadcaster and who's been GM of 4 different stations. She currently serves as the GM of the Imo Broadcasting, DG of the Imo Broadcasting Corporation. She is Executive Director, Woman of Substance. A pleasure to welcome you on Good Morning Nigeria. A pleasure to welcome you on Good Morning Nigeria. A pleasure to welcome
Good morning, viewer.
Go ahead.
All right, let's begin this conversation as we start from right here in the studio. And I'd like to begin by asking Dr. Olajumoke Adeniyi what might be driving the rise in digital violence against women in Nigeria today.
Thank you very much. From the statistics of sexual and gender-based violence, we know in Nigeria that 1 in every 3 women, sitting from the age of 15 to age 49 at least, has experienced sexual and gender-based violence, both physically and digitally. Because we have situations online where we see influencers. A lot of the time when you see people come online to bring out, and how many times have you counted a male influencer come out to rant that he's been harassed online? Recently, we had one of the fashion designers, like one of the top fashion designers, that was being cyber stalked for being seemingly pregnant, and she couldn't post in peace. People that we call womb watchers. We have this trend in Nigeria, and we need to do better as a community, as a nation. And why we have this trend in Nigeria is because, number one, we do not have enough information on the people. The people are ignorant that this is the effect of what I'm doing. They do not have adequate information of what your comments on to somebody's physical look, to somebody's performance online can do to that person when that person is not online. So many of these people have been victims of depression. Some of them will end up not being able to come out to socialize because of the fear of what are they going to say about me, and this is a big issue, and some people begin to contemplate suicide.
Sorry, Dr. Denny, sorry, can I quickly just interrupt you a while? We will need to adjust, your microphone, so we'll get back to you. Let me come to Dr. Asmao. Dr. Asmao, I want to start from the basics, clarifications. First of all, because each time we talk about gender, non-violence against gender, our focus is generally, our talk, our conversations generally center around the female gender. And I know that my colleague here, I'm surprised that today he's on our side, has always raised the issue, of, so let's clarify what we mean by gender. Who are we talking about? And then, the second leg to my question will be, all the while we've been talking about 16 days activism, against non-violence and all that. What has happened? I mean, is this just another political show, the usual rhetorics? So just quickly.
So thank you very much. When we talk about gender, to a layman, let me just put it this way. Gender is talking about human beings. Everyone that is born of a woman has a particular gender, whether you are male or women or female. Basically, gender means is a social construct, like I said, and sometimes we misconstrued what sex means and gender. Sex is biological. It's what differentiates men and women. For instance, I'm a woman and I give birth. A man cannot give birth. So these are sex rules.
Don't be sure about let's speak to what we know.
Okay.
Let's speak to yes.
I'm coming there. It's just a simple, just so that we don't misconstrue the two. Because when I conduct a lot of gender trainings, gender awareness training, and that's one of the key things you always find people talking about, gender, sex, and so we need to always put this demarcation of what the two terms, the concepts mean. And talking about gender is a social construct of what differentiates a male and a female. And that construct is societal based, and it is also context specific, and it's also culturally oriented. So what constitutes gender roles in Nigeria might not be the same gender roles in America. For instance, even within Nigeria, what constitutes gender roles in the north is not what gender roles are in the south. So when you see a man in the south, he can tie a wrapper, and that's gender roles for southern, especially the Igbo tribe. And for Hausa man, when you see a man tie wrapper, it's a taboo. How can a man tie wrapper? Especially, do you understand? In celebrations, Igbo people do that. So we need to understand that some of these the gender issues are not generic. They are context specific, and they are culturally aligned. And it is the society, through socialization, that assign what a man can do and what a woman can do. And sometimes that starts from the family.
So in essence, so that we can go. In essence, when we talk about non-violence against gender, who are we looking at?
We are looking at everybody.
Beautiful.
It can affect both male and female. But once we talk about that, who are those that usually suffer from that?
We'll come to that. I just want us to understand that, look, we are not restricting
not at all
to just the female.
Yeah, it's everybody.
Gender. The second leg to my question, before we bring in a chief here, is, I mean, we've been having this activism, 16 days. I mean, ladies will come out, will go on road shows. If he is there in Lagos, I know if I'm going to come to you, we will be all over talking about it. Well, I mean, what have we moved? What is the shape?
To be fair to activists, to be fair to journalists, a lot of mental and psychological change has happened in the Nigerian community. Many people are now aware. 5-10 years ago, you hardly hear of the commemoration of the 16th day of activism, but it has been existing in other countries. But because of the massive awareness creation, because of the mobilization of activists, actors, to be able to speak to issues that concerns gender-based violence and violence against women, many people are not aware. Do you know in schools now, they've made some schools mandatory for them to commemorate that day, so that boys will understand what constitutes violence against girls, and girls will understand what constitutes violence against boys. And when we move even to the workspace, it's the same thing is happening in the offices now. You will see that most corporate organizations and now even government organizations have started commemorating this day. You will hear now it's 16th day of activism. They will prepare all this branded material to create awareness against violence against women at the national level, at the policy making level. Now they're talking about gender-based violence. How many years ago we weren't hearing about this?
That's
so
why
a lot of progress
you should be in the
made.
classroom or even here, because if I allow you to go on,
I'm going to ask, you see, from your decades of experience, I'm tempted to ask from where she's coming, why then do we have to say gender-based violence? Why don't we just say no to violence?
Yeah, we are having to say gender. And, you know, before these explanations we're having, clarifications, when you say gender, automatically the minds of people go to the female gender. And that is because they are the ones who suffer gender violence the most. They are the ones who suffer it on a general basis from the home, from at workplace, and as they grow up. So it is known that the women suffer it more. Because of their natural vulnerable positions and situations. So that is why, you know, once you say gender-based violence, it goes to them. They are the ones who get harassed, they are the ones who get raped, they are the ones who get stalked, and they are the ones who are, you know, by the way society pleases us, who are emotionally attacked. You know, when a woman raises her voice, the natural thing that happens is that attack starts, and then you have to like take charge of the situation, or, you know, find a way to go around it.
From your long years of experience, how has, you know, this evolved from offline to online?
Okay, you know that in the last decade, we have gotten more engaged with our cell phones. See, everyone here is carrying a cell phone. So it's like we're taking this violence from the streets into our phones and into our homes. And so people are easily affected by it. There's a general kind of engagement and involvement, and that is bringing it even closer to our homes and into our minds, because we engage with this situation. The phones have made it easily reachable. The phones have made us also because easily engaging with the situation, and so it's generally, you know, reaching us much more than it had reached us in the past, and it's right at our doorsteps now and on our minds as we engage with our phones.
Dr. Omwabadi, thank you very much. Let's put you on hold and go to Lagos. Chief Ifeonyebule, my dear sister, it's good to see you and having this conversation with you. If you're there, okay. I'm just wondering, I like to give the conversation some content and context before we even look at the layers of abuse and who suffers what. They've all said, the guests in the studio have all said the female gender is most vulnerable. Do you think that the statistics, reflect that? Or what is happening behind, the other gender? Are they just hiding behind the bars? What's happening behind, the other gender? Are they just hiding behind the bars?
I'd like to take it from the angle of, what the statistics say. When you look at it, 1 in 3 women are either facing or have faced one form of violence or the other. I heard Dr. Adeni speak, I've listened to Dr. Asmao, and of course Chief that just finished speaking. And you asked some questions around the issue of gender. When we talk about gender, let's look at it this way, and it's the truth. People may not believe it. Even before the girl child is born, that's, the discrimination starts. And I'll take you through it, of course, especially in the part of the country where I come from, the East, as it is. A woman, you have children, maybe like 4 or 5 girls. Until you have a boy, some families don't even believe that you are in the house or in the home and that you're relaxed as a wife. She gets pregnant again and has another girl child. You understand what happens? He comes again and he says, oh, another girl. He walks away. Now we get to the part where the girl child is growing. You're saying to the boys, go out and play. The girls, stay home. You're going to stay with your mother. You must learn to cook so that you make a good wife and all that and all that. No one thinks about that girl having her own idea of what it is that she wants to do to grow with her brothers. So the discrimination is there. You get to the what's it called now? The official arena, as it is. There is this subtle thing when you talk about women and the things that they do. I have faced it for someone who's managed about 4 stations, as it is. Everywhere I go, that bias is there. Who's this woman? Where is she coming from? Why is she better than any other man who can take up the job? I'll even share with you, in the role where I am now as Director General, when I was first appointed, I assumed the position and, got into office. Someone walked into my office to see me. And as he walked in, he saw that it was a woman, a young woman at that. I wasn't yet 50 when my governor appointed me. And he said to me, really, I expected to see a man here in the office. So I said to him, you're going to see me here for a long time to come. So get used to it. Let's get down to business. What can I do for you? So what I try to do is to let people understand we're all human beings, whether male, whether female. People need to get equal opportunities. That's the way I see it. And for the 16 days of activism, of course, the theme is end digital violence against women and girls. So it already covers the gender that we're talking about at this time. And I think that we should focus on that because a lot is happening when you talk about women and the way they are even reported, the way they are portrayed right there in the digital space. We'll go into all of that if the time permits, and I'll give you some examples.
We come back to Dr. Olajumoke Adeniyi here. Ife, you've talked about, you've mentioned some specifics that relate with the female gender. But some would also argue that it's because, the male gender are not saying, they're not amplifying what they're also going through. Saying they're not amplifying what they're also going through.
They're not coming out to talk about it, but it's not to say that they're not coming out. I've had a couple of men who said to me that I'm being bullied by my wife. In the years when I was station manager of Rock City FM in Abeokuta, a certain man walked up to me and said to me, I need to leave my home, the place where I have my wife and my child, just so I don't send somebody to their early grave. I had to rally support for this man so that he moves out of there, at that moment in time. He said his wife was bullying him. On top of that, she was, going about with other men, and he just couldn't stand it. She was rubbing it in his face. She even attacks him, as the case may be. That is one man, or that was one man who came out to speak about it. You know what it's like? We live in a patriarchal society. Not a lot of men will want to come out to say to you, my wife is beating me up at home. She doesn't give me food. She doesn't take care of me. She doesn't even perform her conjugal duties as it is. Men don't come out to talk. And it's because we live in a society that says that it is wrong or it's a crime or an abomination for men to cry. I think we need to become humans as it is. Let's be human beings first before whatever it is that we want to be. And the society needs to soft pedal, needs to, loosen up on this idea of saying that a man is supposed to be like stone. We're all made of what we have in our veins. If you cut anybody open, it's blood that you're going to see. Why would you say that a man should not express himself and say exactly how he feels? So much is happening. Gender roles are changing now, and that's why we see a lot of the things, the crazy things, pardon my use of that word, happening in homes today. But when you talk about gender-based violence, it is the woman that faces it. Let's call a spade a spade. It is what it is, even though not many people will believe that it's the woman that is hardest hit.
Thank you. Thank you, Ify. I like the fact that you've considered that not many people would believe. We'll leave it at that. Let me get back to Dr. Olajumoke and ask, now, from your work, what would you say is the singlest, simple mistake that women make without even realizing the risk? And now I'm speaking because if he has asked us to, gender is women, and let's talk about women.
Mistake, how does mistake relate to
mistake?
How? You have started.
It's like making her responsible.
Okay, yes, because I'm trying to understand the question. What do you mean by mistake?
Yes. There are things that people do. It could be a mistake. You put yourself, perhaps make yourself vulnerable without even realizing it. And I'm saying, in your own experience, because you walk around this cycle, what have you found to be one theme that runs through that you could say, okay, this is a mistake that some women make or most women make that they do not realize. They just do these things naturally and it turns out to be their undoing with regards to gender-based violence.
In other words, okay, can women make themselves vulnerable to violence?
Okay.
That's what he's.
So when you say gender-based violence, it just means that you're being denied or you're being attacked just because you're a woman. Whether you make a mistake or you don't make a mistake, because there is something hanging over your head. She's a woman. When you're driving on the road, there's a difference. A bike man will not speak to a man before he can speak anyhow to a man. And the way he's going to speak to a woman that is driving, I'm sure that most female drivers can relate. The way they will struggle, they will tell you, oh, women, they always drive the road. They are not going to allow you pass because she's a woman. Do you understand? So because she's a woman, there is that mindset already. They feel she's weak. Just like what you're wearing. There is really no excuse. There is nothing that can say this is a mistake that you're making for you to be raped, for you to be mutilated genitally because you're a woman, for you to be given out as a child bride, for you to be bullied online because you're a woman, you just got married and they expect your stomach to start showing in 9 months, and because you keep posting and some of your family members are seeing you. This thing happens everywhere. We are so accessible. The internet has made us so accessible. Somebody that naturally, when you walk one-on-one, seated with you, cannot say jack to your face. But because you are able to, you're posting online, they see you, they can speak to you anyhow, without even processing through the medulla oblongata. What is happening? Some people just sit down. We have keyboard warriors online, speaking to people anyhow, especially the women. And number one, I won't say there is a mistake. One of the mistake I can call a mistake is you leaving your trails. Some of the security how we need to protect ourselves online. Somewhere. Whenever you're going out on a walk, when you're making videos, do not leave trails that can leave out your environment. Example, your house number. For example, when you're posting pictures, do not make sure that your car plate is not there. These are simple precautions that we as individuals are meant to take. Do not post your car plate. Do not post information about your children's school. Don't post your children's badge, even if you have to post them online. Those are normal cyber security measures that we should take note of when showcasing our lives on social media.
In other words,
because our lives is now
social media. In other words, it is possible that some women put out too much
information,
which becomes a problem for them.
Yes, sometimes you can overshare. For example, you're dealing with a particular issue and you've not mentally processed it yet. And then you come online to ask social media people for their advice. We've seen some celebrities do this on their marriages. They pull it out and then they start talking down the women. It is high time, if you know that you do not want the media to talk about your matter, you don't want the opinion, unsolicited opinion of people who are beneath you, do not share it. If you're not in a mental space that you can handle, you've already walked through that situation, you're strong enough to share it, don't share yet. You do not owe anybody any explanation online of what you do about your life. And you do not owe them any you're not accountable to them about your life. It is your life. You have to process it. You're not at par. You're not at their mercy or at their beck and call to give them every single details about your life. So we should not make ourselves too overly approachable, we're too overly connected to people when we don't have the obligation to. So we should learn to protect our privacy. Right. And that being said, there is still no excuse. I like what you're wearing on your shirt. There's still no excuse for you to go out and type something bad against another human being, because you could be affecting their mental health and lead them to issues that you could not even eventually be able to handle when you're not aware of it.
We're now delving into the content and context of violence, and that's why I'd like us again to look at the concept of violence. It's evolving to even go beyond the use of force to physically inflict harm on an individual, to even the intention to cause physical harm, both to the physical, mental, psychological, emotional, financial.
People get blackmailed and they ask them to pay.
Exactly. Yes. So all of this constitute violence against any, victim. So let us start with, the most common violence that is getting global attention. Not just global attention, that is prevalent in Nigeria.
I think I will write on the last speaker. It is technology-facilitated violence. It's at the front burner. And coincidentally, we have a cybercrime law in Nigeria. And what we see is that there is the huge impunity in terms of implementing the Cybercrime Act. For instance, technology has given us access to everybody at any time. This is not just targeting women, but targeting everybody. Politicians are being dragged on a daily basis. Celebrities also have their own share of being scandalized on the cyberspace. Activists, journalists, name it, everybody is a victim of technology. Like I think someone said right here, that we have to also censor what we put out, because internet is street. That's what Nigerians call it. The internet is street. What you wouldn't want anybody to say about you, you better not put it out. The moment those informations are out, then you have less control over who says what and to who. So I think for us as women, and in commemoration of this year's International Day for the Elimination of Gender-Based Violence, and why the UN made it specifically for technology-facilitated or digital violence, is because there is no barrier. Wherever you are, you find out celebrities in the US get dragged by Nigerians or Africans. So what are we saying? It has come to the phases where we see the world as a global village. And if it is a global village, we have to imply or apply global strategy on how people can engage on the internet. A lot of young people have suffered sextortion, whereby their images without consent are being shared. And this is one information we need to pass across to the younger ones. It's not every man that tells you to send your nude pictures that you decide to send your nude pictures to. The question
you shouldn't even send your nude pictures.
Yeah, the question is, that's what I'm going. In the first instance, who does that? Why should a human being, not even your parent, you're not supposed to, that's why they call it your private part. It should be for you and you alone. Parents should tell their girls.
You know why Victor talked about mistake or girls making themselves vulnerable? Yeah. Because if you go to the social media, you see a lot of young girls, I mean, surprisingly so, exposing and inviting and nurturing people, practically selling their
Years
body.
later, they are not proud of it.
I mean, so is there a link between these, ads on the social media and the actual, what would I say, the carrying out of the act
itself? Definitely, because there is an erosion of our value system as a country. You understand? Parents no longer have stronghold on how to discipline their children. And another very critical issue is the monetization of these social media spaces. Most of these girls and young people go all out to make money at the detriment of their personality. They forget that the internet doesn't forget. That's why you find out that sometimes a young lady, a young man will want to marry, and the relations go to the internet to find out about your content. Employers now do a lot of background check on the internet to find out about your life. Even in the embassies, when you want to travel now, background check is very important. They go to your own engagement on social media to find out the kind of content you put out there, because your person represents what you put out there. So young people, for instance, they have to really be aware of this context so that they safeguard their future. Because sometimes you say, oh, I was just young. It's not an excuse. Youthful exuberance is not an excuse for you to become so unruly. So I think this is something that, and also the application, like I said, when I started on the Cyber Crimes Act, there has to be an enforcement. The culture of now, all this cyber fraud, Yahoo Plus, all these things, a lot of young people are being targeted for ritual killing because of that. And our law enforcement are there. The EFCC, that thing has overwhelmed them. Recently, I had the chairman talking about it. They said, oh, somebody asked him, why are you not concentrating on politicians that are embezzling money? You are going after all these young people that are... He said, there is a fundamental problem. And the problem is not just for them to do this cybercrime, but also the lives of individuals are being affected. So these are the young generation, and they are the future. If we do not intentionally, strategically look at how we will address this issue, where is the hope of Nigeria? Where is the future?
Now that you've talked about the law, let me stay with you for a moment. Would you say that the legal framework is strong enough to, take on digital abusers, or there's a gap somewhere?
The law is there, but there's a huge gap in terms of implementation. If you ask yourself, how many of these people that have violated the Cybercrime Act have been arrested? And the issue is not even that. How many of us are even aware of the content of the law? Nigerians don't even care. They don't even know. Sometimes when it happens, they say, I don't know. But they said ignorance is not an excuse before the law. So we have to really conscientize. I think the cybercrime is domiciled in the office of the National Security Advisor. And there has to be massive awareness for Nigerians to know that this law exists. And that if even the provision, can they make it coincide? Because sometimes the law is too big for people to understand. Make it just bullet points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that anywhere you go, you will know it by head. Not just for us to just assume it is there, but it is not really getting the impact it's supposed to have on the life of the citizens.
All right. Thank you.
I really, Dr. Abaje, I'm just wondering, is there a way we can then build, because one of the focus of the 16-day activism is to build safe places, for girls and women. How can we achieve this, digitally?
I think
if girls are the ones themselves creating the vulnerability.
I think what we're doing now is just what we need to do in the right direction. First of all, let them be aware. We are generating awareness on the evils of all of these cyber issues, and the more they get aware, the more they can handle it themselves. You want the girls and men, and even boys and girls, to know that they will not post indiscriminately. Do not post your location. It is said that you can also change your PIN from time to time so that people do not reach you. And it is also said that, okay, if you have harassers online, don't engage them, Give them the silence treatment so that they cannot actually reach you. So if we are generating awareness, if we are letting people know that this is what is evil in this situation, I think that over time, people will now begin to take care of their space, and so they will not be as vulnerable as they are now.
Okay, I like to ask Ife. Ife, let me borrow from the title of one of your books on broadcast, journalism. How did we get here?
So that's a very big question. Of course, when people hear that cliche, how did we get here? They don't even know that it's a book about broadcasting. But it's something that can fit in all aspects of our lives. I've listened to the wonderful women and all the summations that they have made there. But I think that we're kind of missing it because Victor at some point talked about what mistakes that women are making. I want to bring this in. The little girls, we've seen pictures of fathers who have molested their 6-month-old, 1-year-old, 2, 3-year-olds. What kind of mistakes are those kids making for any man who's sane up here to see such a child and want to take that child to bed? People are known to have sent kids to their early graves because of, I don't know what it is that is welling up inside of them. And you're asking yourself the question, what were those kids wearing for you to see them and you're enticed by what it is that they're wearing? Then you go into them, you have carnal knowledge of them, and these children, some of them fall ill and they die in the process. Away from that, let's even talk about this issue of digital violence against women. And I'll give you some instances. I have called out a couple of our colleagues, of course, when we talk about the media. You're trying to put a story out about a woman. You're going to look for the most terrible picture of her. That's what you're going to use to represent or put across that story. Why should that be? When you're reporting women, it is important to focus on the meat of the matter. Not get a photograph. Yes, I know people they're just so overwhelmed by clickbaits now. They're looking at following or followers so that they garner a lot of followers and they can get, some kind of monetization or make some money in the course of the stories or posts that they make. But I think it's wrong. For people who know, every trained journalist or broadcaster understands that you have to report the issue as it is. Let me come to specifics. There's a young lady who used to be, I think, in one of these houses, the Big Brother houses, and there was this story about her. I saw that story by a reputable newspaper, and I called that paper out to say, why would you use a picture of a girl that is scantily dressed to push a story where she's calling for something that is as reasonable as can be, that any and every Nigerian should call for? She's saying something that makes sense, and you go to, out of all of the pictures that you have of this girl or this lady, you want to pick the one that would, of course, bring eyes to your publication and maybe get you the clicks and get people talking. And I think that was improper, and I called them out for it. Same paper recently put out a story about the First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, talking about the girls that were taken, talking about people who had died in the course of, the violence across the country, and calling on people to, pray, and, of course, wherever they are, hold a minute silence for these people. Then you put a picture of the First Lady where she's smiling. Does that even make any sense at all? Then I tell you what, I talk about this and put up a post about it to say, this is the worst picture you can ever take of a woman who's trying to call attention to something that is affecting all of us as Nigerians. Then you pick a picture where she's smiling and you write that this is what she's talking about, and it didn't make sense to me. But instead of people to focus on what it is I was trying to talk about or point out, they are saying to me, whether they put a picture where she's crying or just in a sober mode, does it bring back the people who are died? That was not the issue at that time. Yes, everyone feels bad at what it is that's going on, but I'm saying that the representation of women in the media, especially on the digital space now, something needs to be done. Somebody there has talked about self-censorship. We need to wake up. We need to understand exactly what it is that we're facing. Let's look at the woman who used to be First Lady in Nigeria. Patience Jonathan, you know, Her Excellency Dame Patience Jonathan, that woman faced a lot of scorn, ridicule. People use her as memes and all of that. And I'm asking the question, do we even put ourselves in the shoes of these women? You see something about a woman, people, you know, dive into it, they thaw at it, they use it over and over. I don't think it's truly right. And as the media, whether you're the traditional media or whether you're on social media, the narratives need to begin to change. If we look at the theme of the 16 days of activism, it's about ending digital violence against women. A woman says something on social media, instead of you to talk about the issue, you're calling her a prostitute, you're saying all sorts of things about her, you're looking at her, you're abusing her the way she looks, you're body shaming her. So much is going on. And I think a lot of orientation and reorientation needs to be done so that we can get back to what it used to be, having empathy, sympathizing with the other person, looking at the real issues. But I tell you, I'm sure you also understand that for you to actually get people talking about you and looking at your posts or your timeline on social media, just abuse someone. And that's it. Everyone comes there, they just jump into it. Dr. Adeni just talked about it. People who can ordinarily not speak with you or talk to you when they see you, they can't even come close. They're right there on their keypads in one corner of their rooms, and they're typing away, they're abusing. And I just say, look, social media is a leveler. If you know you cannot actually take that hit, no wonder some people stay away from it. But we need to do what is right. When a woman comes to do something or says something, the way she is portrayed, I think we should look at that. And maybe that's a good place to start.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chief Ify Onyebule. I just need to make this clarification that when I spoke of mistakes, I was focusing strictly on the theme, which is digital. And sexual violence couldn't be perpetrated in the manner that you were talking about it. But having said that, you are a media person, and from the picture you've painted, I would like to ask, generally speaking, would you then say that the media is amplifying or reducing the digital violence against women? The digital violence against women.
Neither here nor there. That's the truth. I'm just giving you a few examples that I have seen when I'm there on social media. Yes, I'm very active on social media. I'm also looking at training some young girls now to say, we need to report women and report them very well. It's a big issue. That is the truth. As the media, our job is to focus on the issues. You cannot want to write something up. Okay, let me use myself as an example. Before I was appointed as Director General, I think less than 24 hours before that announcement was made, a young lady, a neophyte, I'll just put it that way, and a very ignorant one at that, took my picture, just went on social media, whether it's a random picture or not, I don't want to believe that someone says, look, go and take that woman's picture. She took my picture and attached it to a story of a woman who had duped people of money running into billions. And that story went viral. I was getting links, calls, and all of that. And that's not the first time it has happened. So I'm saying, maybe people do these things intentionally, I do not know. Because that story came out and was all over the place. The next day, I was appointed Director General. Now, look at it. What if my government had gone to see that story and they say, oh, let's look at this woman very well and all of that. Let's go and, find out about her again, because I know they would have done some background checks. But that happened. It was a crazy story. The police had put out a notice for this woman to be found and arrested. But this reporter from wherever, Nairametrics, that's it. They took this, she took my picture and attached it to it. What I'm trying to say is the media needs to get it right. And maybe it's because everybody now, once you have a phone and you have internet, people now call themselves journalists as it is. Training and retraining. A lot is happening. I've just told you about a very credible publication that took the photograph of the First Lady of Nigeria, where she was smiling, and you're trying to tell a story that she's saying to people, we need to all come out and say no to the violence that is happening, and you're putting such a picture. It is not a blog that did it. It is a credible publication, a well-respected newspaper that did it. And as I called them out, people left the issue and pounced on me. Of course, sometimes I don't even reply to such messages, but I wanted people to see exactly what our thinking, our mentality is when we talk about morality, doing the right thing as it is. So I'm telling you, the media, some try to, deal with the issues, but a lot of them, they're not doing exactly what it is. Everyone is running after clicks, likes, follow, comments, and all of that. That's what people are running after. And they are not minding what it is that these women are going through. Imagine you sitting down and reading about yourself and the nasty things people say about you. Mental health issues are on the rise now because of some of the things that happen on social media. I can take it. How many women are able to take it and use their voice to say, this is not what it is? Not many women can do that. So I think the media has a lot of work to do. And what we're doing right now is part of it. And I hope that it continues.
Thank you for all the points that you have raised. And indeed, there's so much that, the media can also do. And what we do, like you rightly said, is report on very sensational incidents that affect women, and then of course thereby reinforcing even the actions. So when we come back to you, I'd like for you to talk to us about what you think, how you think we can begin to report the solutions or the systems that have helped to minimize violence against gender. That's when we come back to you in a moment. We've got some messages here with us. We'll quickly take some of them. Victor, you have some messages?
I do.
Okay, please start.
All right. This one reads, good morning, Mass. Is gender-based violence all about women? Can't the men be victims of gender-based violence too? That's from Olatunde Kazim in Ijebu-Ode. All right, I take this next one. Good morning, Victor, as it's addressed to me. I love your style of cloth. You look handsome. Okay. Say, let's stop gender-based violence all over Africa. That's from Muyiwa in Ekiti. Thank you. And good morning to you all in the studio. I am Usama Shehu from Mina, Niger State. I am really glad with this topic of discussion. It is very important for the society and community to know more about gender-based violence. Thank you. And another one reads, good morning all. Azu, I don't envy you this morning. Thank you. Only amongst these beautiful, powerful women. Anyway, it is important to provide or to promote equality, whether male or female. By doing that, we have a welcome society that protects all. Thank you. That's from Tunde Malik. He said it's my neighbor here in Abuja. Your neighbor? Okay. And this long one is from No Name. While I agree with the need for awareness on gender-based violence, when it comes to digital violence, most ladies even tend to be more toxic, more violent towards the male gender than the other way around. We should take a realistic approach of what is our reality than a popular narrative. For instance, everyone keeps talking about parents, how parents prefer male children, but this is taking us back to the 90s, because in these contemporary times, the female child is even getting more attention in the home than the male child, and psychologically, it's affecting the male child. The gender abuse that is concerning in our time is sexual abuse and also false accusations of sexual abuse. Thank you very much. I think that's about it from me.
Okay, so let me take a bottom-top approach to take my messages. I don't agree with Madam Ife. Ife, I hope you're listening. This message says, this is from Chrome. Says, I don't agree with Madam Ife if she's defending young ladies that post naked pictures on the internet. Generally, most women are the ones that encourage the gender-based violence against themselves due to what they post online, reinforcing Victor's earlier insinuations or allegations. Yes. This says, thank you. Okay. This is good morning, presenters and wonderful guests. The violence on social media platform is not limited to a woman. Men also face the same thing, just like men also cry. So I was above at a very tender age by, okay, he was abused at a very tender age by a mature woman. In fact, that singular act affected his life, sex life, until he had to personally seek help. We must wake up and discuss the matter in a way that it will help the larger society. To stop any form of violence, all hands must be on deck. Men, women, boys, and girls. We're all vulnerable. The DG talked about the First Lady, but she forgot the First Lady's husband, President Goodluck Jonathan, who was declared dead, and this was done by high-ranking leaders. DG Ife, you have two messages that you will probably respond. Let me quickly take this again. My name is Ogbonnaya from Ebonyi State. I'm happy to be sharing from your discussion. Your guests are amazing, but it's going to be very difficult to implement the cybercrime law in Nigeria, simply because, just like Dr. Asmao said, the monetization of the digital space in the midst of enormous pressure to survive, that pressure is disintegrating the glue that holds families and humanity. Some men now try to run away from their responsibilities just to live long. Most of the younger men now get deeply involved in crimes. So the solution is creating a surviving space for all. That's a surviving space for all. Environment where a woman doesn't have to sleep with her landlord to be under the roof. You know, I'm sure Dr. Asmao, you get the scenario he's trying to create. I'm trying to look for, this is from Chike Dim, Warri in Delta State. Gender-based violence refers to harmful acts directed at someone based on their gender, often involving physical, emotional, sexual, or psychological harm. Now, in Nigeria and across Africa, GBV remains a critical societal challenge. Despite various initiatives aimed at addressing this issue, the rise of social media has unfortunately led to an increase in online gender violence. Amplifying the scale of this harmful practice, this can be curbed through promoting digital literacy, enforcing stricter laws, and fostering community awareness campaigns. And, we have quite a number of messages. Akiyemi says, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I love this program and the focus today. But my question is, as a married woman, does a married woman have the right to her husband's cell phone? Secondly, does she also have right to lock her cell phone and lock her WhatsApp? Akiyemi, hey, okay. This is Igbodo from Asaba. Gender violence, women in particular, receive overwhelming attention that oppressed men in marriages have hardly been brought to forefront. Okay, oppressed men in marriages have hardly been brought to the forefront of gender violence. I pity the male anchor, Victor Azu, who is currently immersed in 1/5 women in the studio. Men don't cry out like women do. Now that women have become breadwinners, only God will save the men or the man-child. Ikechukwu Charles. I think I'll stop here. Ikechukwu, we have your message. We'll take your message.
When we return from the break.
Yes, when we return from the break.
You have no better friend and partner than Nigeria. Let this unveiling today be a call to conscience. Let our practitioners hold the line of truth. To the media, please inform with integrity and with a deep sense of patriotism. To our public officers, communicate with transparency. To citizens, please let us speak with empathy. Let us come together to become the voice of responsibility, the voice of the world that heals division, that inspires hope, and drives development.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. Get ready for a special Christmas celebration like no other.
Join us on Sunday, December 7, 2025 at the National Christian Center, Central Business District, Abuja for the FRCN, NTA and Vaughan Service of 9 Lessons and Carols.
Theme of 2025 is
Jesus Our Strength.
With a charge from Reverend Dr. William Okoye.
The service of 9 Lessons and Carols live on FRCN, NTA and Vaughan. Sunday, December 7, 2025
at 3 p.m. Be there
at the National Christian Center, Central Business District, Abuja.
Don't miss the service of 9 Lessons and Carols live on FRCN, NTA, and Vaughan.
Join us and celebrate the true meaning of Christmas.
All right, welcome back. So let me quickly take these two messages. Charles Ikechukwu Abiagom from Ubulu, Aniocha local government area of Delta State. Yes, gender-based violence is not a new thing. We know there's been disagreement between man and man, woman and woman, and man and woman in that order. The male and women folk alike should live together in peace, but there can always be conflicts in human nature. Agreed? If we protect one against the other, there is no equality treatment. We can only appeal to various groups to be loving, avoid gender-based violence if possible. We can always be loving with equal and enjoy same opportunity if we have the same balance and talents capacity. Thank you. Thank you, Charles. This is from Umar from Kanu. Although Victor is in the minority in the studio, the gender violence you're talking about are referring to female only. Remember that there is for males as well. Oh, ladies, yes. This is from Shehu from Mena. I'm really glad with this topic of discussion. It's very important for the society and community to know more about the gender-based violence. Okay. Good morning, Victor Azu. I love your style.
No, I think
you look handsome. Okay, you've taken this one.
We've taken these messages.
All right. So let's talk about the criminal law. He said it will be too difficult to implement it.
There is no law that can be too difficult to implement. It takes the political will and sincerity of our leaders to enforce such laws in the first instance. So when you say it's not enforceable, there's nothing that is not enforceable. If it's not enforceable, then why was the law promulgated? The only thing we have to look at is the issue of the people understanding the law and how people can apply that law either for or against the perpetrators, right? Because almost everybody is even violating the cyber crime law. For instance, there was a time on WhatsApp, they said, okay, for you to even hear something and without verifying, fact-checking, you post to another WhatsApp group like we do. Everything we see, we don't authenticate the source of such information. We'll just keep circulating. When the law pounds on you, not just the sender in that group, but even everybody that shares that is also what? Implicated, right? So people should know that, like I said earlier, ignorance is not an excuse. Talk more of saying that it cannot be enforced. It can be enforced. Nigeria, the people that are basically, the Cyber Crime Act, a lot of these ministries, departments, and agencies of government have a role to play. The Nigerian police has a role to play in it. The EFCC have a role to play. The Ministry of Justice has a role to play. Office of the Security Advisor has a role to play, especially the CCC, that is the Center for the Coordination of Cyber Crime in Nigeria, has a role to play. But what we see is not just having these institutions and the law present. Do we have the political will to prosecute offenders? We see people doing anything they want until one day when the arm of the law will catch up with someone. We say, no, this person has done it and nothing has been done. Maybe you'll be the scapegoat. Who knows? So I think that is what the understanding and the message that I want to pass across, that we should all be responsible and take inventory of what we post online.
Okay, so I think I have two questions for Ife. Ife, can you respond to some of the messages that came in? One of them, made reference to Dame Patience Jonathan's spouse that you left out, that he too was also abused. I mean, to use in quote. Abused. I mean, to use in quote.
Yes. Messages that came in that had to do with me. Let me take it from where you just stopped, talking about His Excellency President Goodluck Jonathan. People fail to understand, and that's the issue that I have with a lot of us Nigerians, when it comes to issues like this on social media. It is important to stay with the theme, stay with the conversation that we're having, so that we're not scattering ourselves in 20 different places. Yes, there are men who face a lot of violence as it is. People carried the coffin of the president at that time when people were protesting. The late president, Buhari, people said all sorts of things about him. There were pictures of the man in a hospital or right there on a hospital bed, and all sorts of gadgets, connected to the body of the person that looked like him. And I'm sure these were deep fakes. People were just putting up all sorts. People have faced things. Even the current president, Bola Tinubu, is facing it. And the man says to you, I don't even go on social media anymore because they abuse the living daylight out of me. I'm not saying you don't talk about issues when it's about governance. Stay with the issue. But people don't do that. They begin to do some kind of verbal abuse. They look at you, they say all sorts. People who are not even old enough to be their grandchildren. So people trend now. They love it. They come out to abuse people. Let me even talk about my own governor. That man has been bullied. They say all sorts of things about him. I'm talking about His Excellency Senator Hope Uzodinma. They talk about him also. They talk about other governors. They talk about other politicians, men as it is. But the conversation now is not about men. Let's understand that. When you want to talk about men, of course, invite me. We'll sit down and have that conversation. And I'll also tell you the reason why you should never bully a man. But the conversation is not about the man. I want to invest my talk now, invest my time and, my issues as it has to do with women. We're talking about the 16 days of activism, how to end gender-based violence. And when we look at it, the statistics is there for everyone to see. It's in the public domain. So I had to bring in those instances of Dame Patience Jonathan. That woman was bullied as it is. Now they've started with the woman who's first lady. I'm not saying everybody has to like someone. That's the truth. Even in the place where I work, not everyone likes me. And I did not go to take up that job to be liked. I went there to do a job, and that's why I'm going to be there. So what we're saying is, you may not like someone, but when you need to put out a story, or when you need to discuss issues, let us focus on the issues instead of verbally hurling abuse at the persons, whether male or female. But for this conversation we're having, we're talking about the women. Now, let me take the other one, who said that it is the women and the things that they post, that's what attracts all the kind of violence that they face. And I want to say no. I'm not an advocate of people being scantily dressed. You can still look beautiful, and that's why I love some of my Muslim sisters. You're so covered. There's this lady on CNN. She's Muslim. She's covered. She's pretty. You just want to watch when she's talking. And there's some other ladies out there who are so covered when you see them, and they are beautiful. But that's not to say that I will have to do away or abuse those who decide to dress comfortably. There's something called self-respect. There's something called self-restraint. There's something called looking away. That is the truth. You can't touch anyone. I've been to Brazil, in a place where you don't wear clothes when you're going to the beach. When we went there, from our hotel, you could dress in your bikini and whatever you're wearing and walk to the beach. The beach is just across. Some people walk, a little further from where they live, to the beach. and you're strolling like that, no one is touching you or grabbing you right there in Brazil. Because they said to us as Nigerians, they were talking to the gentlemen who went with us to say, look at these women, you dare not touch them. You try it, you are going in for it. So I think people need to have self-respect. If you respect yourself, you respect another person. You just talked about women dressing and calling attention and the things that happen to them. And I say, no, that's not true. The 5-year-old, the 6-year-old that people get to abuse and rape, were they scantily dressed? Just 2 days ago, Tonya Bruised But Not Broken gathered mothers, people together to talk about girls who were raped to death. Yet they've not gotten justice for those children. There's so many of them. The Ochanyas of this world, the Wailers of this world, the Karens of this world. And the list continues. Were those kids scantily dressed? These were children who were sent to school. One was in the church reading, and that's where she was clubbed and sent to the great beyond. The other one was sent to school. Her mother sent her to school. And when she was checked, they found a condom inside of her. She was rotten from inside. Was she scantily dressed in school? We need to call a spade and stop dissipating our energies on, other things. Yes, I agree. Men are also bullied. They also say things about them. But for the purpose of the conversation we're having this morning, the issue revolves around women. And I think we should keep it that way.
Thank you, Fiona. Sometimes I begin to wonder, perhaps we should, because those who argue, perhaps we should change the name. We shouldn't call it gender. We should just say, violence against women.
I don't agree with you,
those
Victor.
who argue.
Hold on. If he had already said, for the purposes of this discussion today, this is for girl
Yet
gender.
You call it gender-based violence, right?
Anyway. I actually like where Ify is coming from. She's coming from a position of, we need to get people to know. We need to get people to understand what they are doing. And especially in the media space, as she says it, she's aiming to train people to be able to distinguish between issues. The thin line between the truth and what is manipulation is fading out because people are not aware of what they are doing. They talk of AI, ChatGPT, these things who urge you to do things, the way you are thinking. AI mimics your voice, puts it out there, and people are not sure. AI undresses you, and then you appear there. So some of the time, it's not that even these people set out to go there naked, but they can be mimicked, they can be shown as what they are not. They can be made to speak what they didn't speak, by creating their images. So once people get a better understanding, even the young people, let them understand that these things can happen. And so they would then also limit what information they put out there, how they engage, because they know that these things can be used against them. A woman that is defaked, a woman that is made to appear as she's not, you don't know what trauma this will send them through. So even giving them suicidal instincts. So we just need to know that these things exist. People need to be aware. They need to be educated about these things. And they also need to be able to handle it. If you are on the space, on the cyberspace, on the digital space, also know that you should learn how to protect yourself, by the things you put out there, like changing your pins from time to time so that people don't reach it. People can even financially uproot you by getting things out of your account, siphoning money out of your account.
So how do we ensure?
You ensure by knowing how to handle it. Women should also get to know.
I'm going to say, how do we ensure, you were in service, how do we ensure that workplace policies, protect women from digital harassment and not just the physical ones?
Like my sister here has been saying, we have rules, regulations. We have to have the will to ensure that we carry out what we say we will do. And in the workplace, like if he is in charge somewhere, like we are all in charge in places, you have to be intentional about what you want to see people do, what you want to see young people do to themselves, and what they do to others around them at work. So if you are intentional about it, it means that you are also able to quickly detect when anyone is going towards a situation that is not palatable to everybody, a situation that will embarrass anybody. If you are, in charge of young people, from the way they interact. So you can also come from the angle of teaching them expectations, what they must do to themselves and what they must do to others. So as awareness continues to be generated and people continue to know situations around this, then we are all able to handle it. That's why they say unite to eliminate gender violence. You do it, I do it, organizations do it, non-governmental organizations do it, governments do it, and before you know what is happening, we can get safe space for everybody.
You know, Dr. Adeniyi, I'm just wondering, just simple, does awareness necessarily translates to responsibility to act or protect? And I say this because what we're doing now is creating, is advocacy, creating the awareness. But does something need to happen even when you are aware?
Well, awareness will, number one, change the mindset of the individuals. It will affect the community. Everybody is becoming more self-aware because according to the statistics, more than 40 to 60% of the population, when this population was taken, admitted that they've at one point or the other been a cyber bully. They've at one point or the other been an internet warrior, either to your family member that is easily approachable or to people that are not even related to you on the other end of the internet. Virtually everybody is guilty of this. So number one, awareness has now made you know that what you're doing is wrong and you should change it immediately. So awareness is very important. Secondly, for the people who are custodians of the children, awareness is going to let you know that a child or a minor is under your care for you to be able to guide them, to teach them on what they should do on the internet, what they should do with their physical body, and what they should not do. When a child comes to you and he reports to you and says, oh, I'm going through this, or somebody, this is what is happening, are you so engrossed in your own phone that you don't even have time to attend to the children, your own children, or the children that are your wards that are put in your care? Or are you even the one that is a predator that is preying over the child that is put in your care? Awareness is going to let you know that there will be consequences and you will be found out if you are a predator. Awareness is going to let every organization, recently the news came out that a co-founder of a major fintech company in Nigeria was suspended. A co-founder. So even a co-founder, somebody that you are the founder of an organization does not exempt you from facing the wrath of the law. It was awareness that made that staff to be able to report and speak up, knowing that the way it was going to be handled 10 years ago is not what will happen this year. That when I speak up, my voice can be more powerful than my abuser's power. So this is the power of awareness, and awareness is the place of awareness can never be underestimated.
All right.
We will not stop and we'll keep pushing until we see the end of it.
Thank you. I'd just like to, as we gradually wind up this conversation, Dr. Asmau, how do we ensure in all of this that the women in communities, in the rural settings, are not left behind in this conversation of protecting women from digital abusers?
Thank you very much. I think it is even harder to get to the grassroots because most of them don't have smartphones to even know what is happening in our contemporary times. But they also have access to the radio. So for the fact that they don't have internet at their disposal, most of them, but some do, I think we can leverage these messages through jingles and using the radio to pass across this information. And I really wanted to add to what the question you asked her about creating safe spaces within the workplace.
Okay.
I remember working with the government as a head of a vulnerable group care unit, and I remember also contributing to discussions, conversations around the ILO Convention C-190, which talks about sexual harassment in the workspace. We could put up policies, prevention of sexual exploitation and abuse, because when we talk about gender-based violence, it's not a homogeneous thing. Under gender-based violence, we have sexual exploitation and abuse and harassment, which has to do basically with institutions. So we cannot use the template for preventing gender-based violence in the public space or in the domestic space to apply it to institutions of government or other private or corporate organizations. There has to be deliberate policies of action plans that the institution itself, if possible, the government should make it compulsory that in every MDA, in every organization, there has to be this is something we see in the international community. For once, I've developed a lot of this for other international organizations because it's a criteria for creating safe workspaces for women. But unfortunately, in the government space, because of the public service rule, you don't see it. So if I were in the government shoe now, talking about these issues, to ensure that there's sincerity of political will to execute this or to implement the eradication of gender-based violence, let us bring it. For example, NTA. You could say NTA should implement prevention of sexual exploitation and abuse and harassment in the workplace for women and girls. And other MDAs also should do the same. In the security sector, they should do the same. In every facet of our national life, they should adopt that. And then going back to the community, I think it's important to work with the traditional religious leaders because they are the custodians of our culture. And they should know who and what to do with women because some of these people don't even believe that women have rights. So, but if we train them, in the course of my work, I went to one state. Do you know one of the chief there, because of the training he received from international organization, he is so gender sensitive that in everything that has to be done in his community, women must have to be represented, even more than men, when we went to work with them. So it shows that when there is capacity building, when there is training, even those custodians of our culture will rise up to what? Their responsibility of inclusiveness, responsibility of engaging women and participation of women in every decision making at the local level.
Okay, thank you. Let's quickly take my last question for Ife. And Ife, I just would like again your perspective because there are some societal and cultural norms that tend to justify some forms of violence against women. And I'm talking about some people believe that, look, wife beating, I mean, it's normal. Child beating, it's normal. Early marriage is normal. Things like that. How do we begin to, not to reinforce these cultural norms? Things like that. How do we begin to, reinforce these cultural norms?
So much for that, Claire, and you took it out of me because I was waiting for you to come here so that we get to talk about it. And this is where the National Orientation Agency comes in. I'm of the Generation X, for those who understand the years, when we talk about people who were born in that generation. I was born in a generation where you're walking to school, even as a secondary school student, those days in Aguda Surulere. You could see the billboards, set up, put up by the National Orientation Agency, where they're telling you, don't give bribes, don't take bribes. Life was beautiful at that time. The NOA should now wake up. I can see so much going on social media. They are doing things now and putting out. And I think the person there is really proactive. But a lot more needs to be done. It's about opening up what it is that you have, bringing people who have some kind of experience that they need to share with you. You come up with key messages that will be scattered all across the country. Dr. Asmao mentioned something that is very key in our conversation here. What it is that is right in one part of the country or one geopolitical zone is not the same that you find in another place. You just talked about child marriage. In some parts of the country, it is the norm. I have a friend who's a Muslim and she says, look, once my daughter sees her period, she's ripe enough to go for marriage or go into marriage. And that's what her maybe religion and her culture teaches her. And no one's going to hold that against her. So I think the NOA, the National Orientation Agency, should, you know, wake up as it is and begin to come up with what it is that we know. Messages that you will.
Victor.
I think we lost connection with Ifeonyebule there, and but then we have to go. It's about time. So let me thank Dr. Olajumoke Adeniyi, who is Head of Operations at Hassam Foundation, Creative Director, Salt and Light Brand. We thank you very much for coming. Let me also thank Dr. Asmao Benzis-Leo, Executive Director at the Center for Nonviolence and Gender Advocacy in Nigeria. Thank you for your time and your thoughts.
Thank you.
Chief Dr. Rekia Momoabaji, retired Director of the Federal Civil Service, an activist on women and development issues. We appreciate your perspectives on the program.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
And finally, let me thank Ifeonyebule, who is Executive Director, Women of Substance, and DGIBC. Thank you very much for the perspectives you've brought on the program. And that's Good Morning Nigeria for today. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you again tomorrow. I am Victor Azu.
And I'm Claire Adelabu Abdulrazak. I'm signing up for the week. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.